Welcome to the Connors Corner segment of Ask the Lawyer. July 7th, 1964, Shea Stadium, Major League All-Star Game. There were a lot of great players on the National League team, Willie Mays, Roberto Clemente, Hank Aaron. But the guy who got the biggest applause that day was the starting second baseman for the National League, our next guest, Ron Hunt. How you doing today, sir?
Hi, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the fans. I still have a lot of friends in New York, and God bless you, old Met fans. I loved you. I still do.
What was it like playing in that All-Star game?
Oh, it was great. These are guys that I had to play against. They treated me well. I was a rookie. No, I was a second year, wasn't I?
Yes.
Yeah, I was a second year. But I was the first Met to be a starter, so that was good. Plus, I got a chance to play for Casey in front of the Mets. Let's see, Dodger, Giant fans have become Met fans. And the ones that are still around, I still love you, and I still think about you, and I thank you for remembering me because I'll never forget you.
Okay, well, you came up in 1963 in the old Polo Grounds.
Right. I like the old ballparks.
Who was your manager?
Casey Stengel.
So what was it like to play under Casey Stengel?
Well, Casey was the type that the Stengelese. You had to listen hard before you understood him, but once you understood him, it was very simple. You didn't lie to Casey. If you lied to Casey, he got rid of you. I think he got rid of a first baseman, Thornberry, I think it was, because they went to the press rather than going to him with a contract dispute. And I remembered that. And I was number 7 of 7 second basemen. I was number 33. There was only 33 guys in spring training. I broke camp with number 3 of 3 second basemen. And I remember what Casey said one day when we were in Philadelphia. I think of the old Connie Mack Stadium. I was walking out the ball away from the ballpark. He was coming down the ramp, and I said, "Casey, Ron Hunt, number 33, second base," because he just remembered numbers and not names. I asked why one time. He said, "Because the numbers are always here, the names change." I said, "Casey, can I talk to you?" He said, "Yes, what do you want, son?" I said, "Well, I'd like to see if I can play here." And I think, who was the second baseman at the time?
Larry Burright was around.
Larry Burright.
Yeah.
Anyway, he wasn't doing very good offensively and defensively. I said, maybe this would be a good time to see if I can play here. He said, "Son, you want to play that bad?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "You play tomorrow." And that's how I got my start.
And you never gave up that starting job that year or the next until you got hurt, I guess.
Well, if I'd known now what I didn't know then, I would have wanted a raise. I played the 66 season for an X number of dollars and told them they didn't have to give me any more money, but I wasn't taking a cut for the 65 season I got hurt. 66 season. But hell, they get their money back. They got it insured. They get all their money back whether you bust your butt or not. So, yeah, I played the game. I played the game right. But I was taught right. Taught right by my grandpa in the city of St. Louis. And I had some good coaches. And Duke Snider kind of took me under his wing. I think Ed Cranepo had the same opportunity, but he didn't take it. But Duke Snider took me under his wing that rookie year in 63 for me. And he helped me a lot on the other teams, how they like to pitch you, how they like to play in certain situations, and he was the best knuckleball hitter I ever seen in my life. And he helped me make contact. Casey used to say, "Hunt, he hits them not too hard, not too easy, tra-la-la-la-la." That means over the infield and not so hard the outfielder catches them.
Now, 1963, you finished second in the National League Rookie of the Year. And
yeah.
If you look at the stats, one might wonder why didn't you win Rookie of the Year, or why didn't you get more votes? Because you had better stats than the guy who did win.
Well, maybe it was because he was on a pennant winner and a contender, and I was with a bunch of veterans. We weren't losers. That verbiage about us being losers, I wouldn't give that year up for my whole life's salary because I was with veterans. Guys that knew the game. They were just a little older, but still, you listen. I learned a lot by just sitting in the clubhouse. In spring training, peeling an orange, sitting on a dumpster, listening to, well, one guy, Gil Hodges, talking to another vet about his hitting style. He gave the outside 2 inches of the plate to the pitcher. The rest of it was his. Well, in San Francisco, when I got traded, it was cold out there. You had to wear a few more clothes, and I was having trouble getting around on the inside pitch. And I got to thinking, Gil Hodges, if it worked for him, maybe it'll work for me in reverse. So I gave them the inside 2 inches. If they could hit that and not hit me and get too much of the plate, I could hit them. And I choked up on the bat a little bit more, and it worked out. But I wouldn't give that up for all the votes for All-Star in my.
Let's go over this a little bit. Now, you talked about Duke Snider. Frank Thomas was on that team.
Yeah, Frank Thomas, outfielder.
Charlie Neal was there for the first part of the year. He was a great infielder, a very good one, I should say.
Well, I was number 7 of 7 second basemen. When we broke camp, I was number 3 in '63, and there was only 33 guys in spring training, so that was why my number was important to me. And I played 4 years with the Mets, runner-up rookie of the year, All-Star 2 of the 4 years, and then I got hurt 1 year and came back and played anyway. And then I get a call in the wintertime in 1966 from a damn sports writer telling me I was traded. The Mets never even had enough to tell me I was traded. So that kind of pissed me off.
Okay.
Hope you got your beeper out.
Yeah, I guess we'll work on it. We're taping it, so that's all right. Here's one thing. If somebody looks at some of the stats, they see your batting average, they see your walks, and they see your on-base percentage. But it doesn't quite add up. Why is that?
I guess because I got hit by the ball.
Right.
My wife didn't give a shit how I got on base as long as I went down the first and turned left. You make too many rights, you went home.
But how come you got hit so much?
It was just part of the game. I found out that I could take it. I worked in front of a mirror and got give with the ball. Didn't take my eye off the ball in case I misread the pitch. I could still ping it or foul it off, and it was part of the game. But with us, hell, my rookie year, our rookie salary was $7,000 a year, man. The rookie year today is what, $450,000. We needed 4 years in the majors to be eligible for pension, not just 1 day less than 4 years and you got nothing. So what the hell, $7,000? What the hell, they just replace you. So you had to play, and I played hurt. The idea was to get on base. And I let off, and I wasn't the quickest person in the world, but I let off in a lot of teams because I take pitches, foul them off, and give the big boys a chance to see what the pitcher was throwing. Now, with San Francisco, I was there, 3 years? I got hit 25 times a year. Now, why would they hit me with Mays, McCovey, Davenport, Jimmy Ray Hart, Bonds, the one that's not on dope?
Well, why?
That's another thing that pisses me off, these guys on dope and potheads and still get a chance to play. There's only one thing in my career that I wish I would have got a chance to do was play postseason. And I never got a chance, and it pisses me off to see people like, who's this, Peralta? The shortstop with the Cardinals is one of them. He was with Detroit a couple of years ago. He got fined 50 games during the season and still got the chance to play in the postseason. I thought that's harsh.
We need to take a short break. You're listening to Ask the Lawyer with Mike Connors. We're talking to former New York Met Ron Hunt. Welcome back to the Connors Corner segment of Ask the Lawyer. We're talking to New York Met All-Star Ron Hunt. When you were in San Francisco, again, you mentioned some of the names. You played with Mays and McCovey. Who are some of the other great ball players that you played with over the years?
Duke Snider was the greatest.
And that was with the Mets in '63.
Yeah, '63. He was the greatest. He taught me the most because no matter what the game was, what the situation was, when I came off the field, there was always a place next to Duke, and he'd talk and I'd listen. Cranepool had the same opportunity. The only Cranepool thought he was great, so he didn't listen.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's why you were more all-star games.
Well, it had a lot to do with it because, like I said, I didn't get a chance to play. I was a backup. I asked Casey, like I remember what Casey told us, come to him with a problem, so I did, and he gave me a chance to play. And then I go into, I think it's Cincinnati, facing Jim Baloney, Joe Nuxall. The reason I know I went 4 for 4 is because Casey, the next day, they had a microphone right next to the dugout. Before the game, he looked at the scoreboard. He says, I knew Cincinnati was a minor league organization. Here this kid Hunt is hitting 1,000, and all I can put on the scoreboard is 999.
Are there any other Casey Stengel stories you can tell the audience?
Oh, sure, there's a bunch of them. Well, I got a chance to play in spring training. I hurt my ankle. I twisted my ankle. It got hit by a slide or something. It messed up my ankle. And Casey came by, said, hey, 33, can you hit? I said, yes, sir. He says, how's your leg? I said, it hurts. So he said, I'll tell you what. He came back and he said, I'm going to let you hit. You get on base, I'll get you a runner. So I went up against the Cardinals, I guess it was. I don't know who it was. I believe it was the Cardinals in St. Pete. Got a base hit up the middle, got down to first base. He come and got a runner for me, and I sit on the bench and elevated my foot because it was throbbing like a son of a bitch. And he came by and looked at me and winked at me. I said, God damn, I did good. He didn't say anything. He just winked at you. So that's how Casey and I got along. You didn't mess with Casey. You didn't lie to Casey. You give him 100%, and you're clean and green. The old story, you lie to me once, you don't get a chance to lie to me again. And when Casey got hurt in '66, I guess it was, West Western took over, and that changed the whole way the game was played in New York. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think Casey came back, but they didn't even announce him to the fans when he came back at Shea Stadium. Shea Stadium was good for the fans. The Polo Grounds was tough parking, tough access. So Shea Stadium was good for the fans.
Well, you were one of the last players to play in the Polo Grounds.
I don't know, I guess, in 63.
Right, they closed it down right after that.
Well, Cranepool was there too, wasn't he?
Yep.
I think that was his rookie year, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Although you were the star rookie on the Mets that year.
Well, yeah, but you said one of the last, I guess.
No, I'm talking about you played in the last game in the Polo Grounds.
Oh, yeah, okay. I don't remember. I remember Casey having a talk when the Giants come in because the Polo Grounds down the right field line was, what was that, 280, 290? Down the left field line was 260 or something like that. Casey was sitting in a meeting and the pitchers were going over the hitters, and they went over Mays, McCovey, Davenport, and everybody else. And Casey got up and said, well, wait a minute. Did you say you're going to play McCovey in the upper deck or lower deck?
Well, you know, Casey Stengel played in the Polo Grounds back in the 20s.
Yep. I know that because I read it, but I didn't know it because he didn't talk about it.
He didn't talk about his playing days at all?
Nope.
That's interesting. I understand he was the last guy to hit a home run in Ebbets Field. Not Ebbets Field, Washington Park, before they moved to Ebbets Field.
I have no idea. He just, Casey was Casey. He either liked you or he didn't like you, and if you lied to him once, you were done. And my memories are the fans and the Polo Grounds. There were old Giant and Dodger fans when they left them hanging. And Casey Stengel, and hell, the first year we had to stay over in Fort Lee, New Jersey. We only made $7,000 a year because we couldn't afford New York. Oh, I got a $500 raise about a month into the season. Casey called me in and said, you got a raise? I said, yeah, what I got? How about $500? I said, is that a month? He said, fuck no, that's for the year. I said, we'll take it.
Can you give me one last story on Casey Stengel?
He was good people. I don't know what to tell you. I know without him, I wouldn't have got a well, I'll tell you what. Solly Hemus, Paul Whaler, Eddie Stanky, Cookie Lavagetto, and Casey Stengel give me a chance to make the majors because it was little ball, and I played little ball. In fact, if I can just tell you a story about me, I signed with the Milwaukee Braves in '59. In 1962, I was in Austin, Texas, and went to a ball game up in Amarillo, Texas, I guess it is, Amarillo. Amarillo. And I was hurt. I was tired. So, Jimmy Brown was a member of the old Gas House gang. He said, well, maybe you shouldn't play. I said, no, I'm here to play, damn it. He said, okay, well, I went out and had a pretty decent game, and Solly Hemus, who was sent there to see me play from the New York Mets. So the kids today, just remember, no matter whether you're doing poor, whether you're doing good, give 100% and play hurt. Otherwise, because you never know who's looking on. And Solly Hemus put the word in for me, and they purchased my contract, and I got a chance to go to the majors and made good before it. With us, you needed 4 years to be eligible for pension. Today, they need 1 day. After 8 years, you get your pension doubled, I believe. 10 years to 12 years, you got bonuses. And my wife, well, her and I have been going together since we were 16 years old. She had my money when I was 18, and I never got any smarter. Anyway, September 16th, 1961 was the happiest day of my life. That's what she tells me to tell everybody, so you've been told.
Okay.
And without her, I wouldn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. And I want to thank the New York fans for remembering me, because I'll never forget them. And I got an organization in which the Ron Hunt Eagles Baseball Association. I do clinics when I can. I do clinics for those that have to raise their own money. If they get government money, I don't do nothing for them. And if they get city money, I don't do nothing for them either. But I have a older men's group in New York that kind of helps me and takes care of me as far as raising some dollars so I can take care of some of these kids. A guy by the name of Ray Lammy started this all over in 1999. Bob Mant, who's a member of the Mets, his job was asses and seats, and Bob and Norma Mant is still friends. Ray Lammy passed away, but Barb Lammy is still a friend. And now with the men's league, senior men's league in, I guess, Long Island, Tom Dixon and Steve Ellers kind of helped me. Even though I can't make it to New York anymore, I can't fly. I've had 18 operations and 15 of them due to baseball. But a guy by the name of Gary Perone kind of helps too, raise money, and I take care of those that I can take care of with it. So if they want to send some money, send it to the Ron Hunt Eagles Baseball Association, and I'll make sure it goes in the right place and not in somebody's damn pocket.
Okay, you want to say that again? Let them hear it twice.
Ron Hunt Eagles Baseball Association Incorporated. It's tax exempt. It's a donation.
Okay, you got a website?
I don't do that internet. Try Ron Hunt Baseball at CentryTel, CENTURYTEL.net. I'm not sure that'll work. I tried that one time and couldn't pass it.
A lot of us out here in New York, the old Met fans, they really appreciate it because you gave the 100%. You played hard, and we all appreciated that up in New York.
I know, because there wasn't a lot of suits in the stands. We played for the working class people, and I think they appreciated me because I had to work my ass off to stay there. In fact, we stayed over in Maspet. We stayed in a basement apartment. Pete and Ethel Chehalis was a restaurant, Spartan restaurant. They kind of took care of us with food. Ben and Mary Piazza was a basement apartment. In fact, the kids used to knock on the door about 6 o'clock in the morning. Can Ronnie come out and play? Jackie, my wife, said, no, Ronnie's sleeping.
Well, at least it was a short commute to Shea Stadium.
Shea Stadium. We stayed in, I think there was an apartment right across the street. What was that? What's that thoroughfare that runs there?
Grand Central Parkway?
Yeah. Right on the other side, there was a friend of a friend owned, or just built a apartment establishment, and we stayed in there. But that was a pain in the butt, hauling the groceries up in that damn elevator. Walking distance, and then 64, we had more friends come in from out of state, out of country, because of the World's Fair. In 66, I got hurt. I'll tell you what, an interesting story in 66. I got hurt, and they told me to go home. Well, I didn't want to go home. I wanted to get back in the lineup. So I got a total shoulder separation, left shoulder. Gagliano ran over me with the Cardinals. The only thing holding my shoulder in was skin. And I worked my butt off, and I was back in the lineup in 3 months. And that's the year that I didn't want to take a raise because I figured I was shortchanging the team. And then I find out today that they got insurance and they got their money anyway.
Well, baseball's changed. It always will change. It always has been changing.
Well, as long as they keep the potheads out of the game, keep them off the all-star teams and off the records, I love it. I would like to see the American kids get the same opportunity as these kids from other countries where they don't have to go to school and they can sign at an early age. Otherwise, make the rules for everybody. When I had my baseball program for 18 years, I never pitched away one arm because they had a pitch count, and I had rules and regulations, and we wound up with we started out with 2 pages of rules and regulations and wound up with 18, and nowhere in any of them did it say, yeah, but.
Ron Hunt, thank you for, sharing the time with us. We wish you the best for the rest of your life, and if you're ever in New York, come see us. I know you don't travel much anymore, but believe me,
I can't wait at the airport. If you got a private plane, send it like these politicians.
Well,
send a private. Come on out here, and I'll show you. Bring your boots out here, though.
Okay.
I'll put your ass to work.
All right. Well, listen, again, the old Met fans remember you, and I'm one of them. So thank you for all the memories you gave us. And, thank you for what you're doing today. And thank you for sharing your memories.
Well, I'll tell you what, friends stay in touch. Memories last forever. As long as you remember me, you're not going to see me on my back, so you got to remember me on my feet.
Well said.
Thank you. I love the fans. Thank you, fans. I appreciate it. And those that don't give a shit, tough.
You're gonna give us a hard time putting this together.
Well, send me one that's unbeeped.
Okay, we'll do that.
That'll be about 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, right.
All right, stay in touch, man.
Take care. Thank you.